More stories to start your morning. Steph Curry has been lights out since Durant went down, averaging over 35 points per game. That guy also. This earned him high praise from Sir Charles Barkley, who said Curry has put his name back in the conversation for best player in the world. Nick Wright, is Steph back in the conversation for that title?
Of course. And going into next year, it's going to be a five-man ladder match for the title. Steph, KD, Giannis, LeBron, and Kawhi Leonard.
Can we put them on a cage? Just put them in a cage instead of on a ladder?
Well, they're not on a ladder. There's a ladder in the ring. The belt's hanging over the ring, and whoever can climb the ladder and grab the belt, they're the champ.
Okay, well, describe that to me.
Okay, my apologies. You can put a cage around it, a cage ladder match. Now we're getting real dangerous, but no problem. Yeah, Steph is in the conversation. 36, 8, and 7 since Kevin Durant went down, and the team has not lost. He's reminding people he's still Steph Curry. He's just been a bit more of a muted Steph Curry over the last couple of years.
And that's going to be a list of 5 players, right, Nick?
Yeah, it's Steph, KD, Giannis, LeBron, and Kawhi, pardon me. Harden.
Yes.
I feel like Harden, no matter how well he plays in the regular season, until he has a postseason run, it could be 6, but people aren't going to want to include him.
Yeah, all those other guys have elevated their play in the postseason, deserve it.
Absolutely right.
All right, moving on. Mike Budenholzer had some harsh comments for Drake, Toronto Raptors superfan, saying there's certainly no place for Drake on the court, and there are boundaries and lines for a reason. Drake later had an Instagram post with a laughing face and a salt shaker, inferring that Budenholzer was a bit salty. See, what do you think?
Even people in Toronto are criticizing Drake. Listen, Drake is part of the reason why they have part of the fandom that they do. Now, I know Drake has been seen wearing other jerseys and everything, but he's from Toronto. He's paid for those seats. He is the official ambassador of Toronto basketball. Now, Drake can't touch the coach. And we do have to get a little chalk line in front of you as far as you can go to your seat, to the seat to your left, and the seat to your right. But those other people have paid a lot of money too. Not as much money as you, Drake. All right? So I just need you to reel it in just a little bit. Don't touch my coach.
And listen, Drake, I understand, like a lot of famous people and performers, you love attention. And I don't begrudge you that. But that's what your concerts are for. The games are not for people to be watching you and eyes on you. You are there as a viewer. You're international ambassador. I don't care. Brand ambassador for the Raptors. I don't care. The coaches are not even allowed.
So even if the practice facility is part of my doing and everything?
Hey, you know what? The Syracuse University practice facility is named after Carmelo. Carmelo can't go courtside to Syracuse games.
No, he can't do that because it's only a one-sided game. It's only going to be playing offense. They're not going to be able to play no defense. Now, that's the reason why he's canceled.
I mean, I guess I set myself up for that one. But no, you can't. Sit down, Drake. And if you're such a, by the way, brand ambassador, go to a road game. Show your face in Milwaukee tonight, Drake.
Oh, yeah, we should be there tonight with some security.
All right, finally, Eastern Conference Finals continue. Game 5 tonight. Raptors, without Drake, have taken the last 2 games from Milwaukee to even the series to 2 games apiece. Toronto looking to make their first ever NBA Finals. And the moment isn't lost on Kawhi, who quipped, "We have a chance to make history here." See, does this playoff run make it more likely Kawhi stays in Toronto with the Raptors?
Well, listen, I know a lot of people, they thought they knew who Kawhi was. In these last 2 rounds of the playoffs, with the sound bites and everything, the way he's played and his lack of emotion or his lack of conversation about his play, this is who Kawhi is. And for anyone to think at this point they know what Kawhi's going to do, they're wrong, and they are guessing. What I have heard is, from day one, they were all in on Toronto, trying to go up there and figure out his injury, trying to figure out his teammates, and trying to get this team to a championship. The experience has been great, but nothing's changed, all right? Kawhi can be a free agent. He is going to be a free agent, and I can believe there's going to be 3 teams in the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes. That being the Clippers. I know the Lakers would like to be. I don't believe they'll be able to get in there to be able to make a mark. The Knicks, all part of this. But, man, I believe it's a 2-team race between the Clippers and the Knicks.
With the Raptors,
I just believe if without a championship, Kawhi is a different person. Don't get caught up into the emotion. Don't react to this the way you would react. Try to think about Kawhi, because he's the person making the decision. Toronto does have a chance. So does New York. And so do the Clippers. Right now, I would believe it's a 3-horse race. Because he's playing in Toronto, and he is a loyalty guy, they might have a slight edge. But those other two teams got real possibilities.
Listen, this is not a situation I have the insight on that Chris does. So this is just the way I'm looking at it from a logical perspective and from an outsider's perspective. Of course, the deeper they go, the better chance it is he stays, because it's a better chance to believe you can win a championship. It's the more time to create memories. It's the more time to believe we are not starting from scratch anywhere. So Game 7, that moment was huge. That moment becomes a lot less big if they lose Game 3 in double overtime and then get swept by the Bucks.
And also that moment, who it was against. Because if he decides to stay in the East, he's going to see Philadelphia and Giannis. So his overall success against those two teams, I do believe, helped them keep him.
The other element is last year, it was very clear, despite his injury, that Kawhi Leonard was not focused on the more money the Spurs can give him. Now, this year, they were as cautious as any team I've ever seen with his maintenance. Sat him for 22 games for load management. We're now at the midway point of the Eastern Conference Finals, and he seems to be dealing with a similar injury again. I do wonder, no matter what happens at this point forward, if for Kawhi Leonard, that extra money and that extra year that Toronto can offer, if that will have an impact now that it's consecutive years, he has had some level of lower body injury.
This is the thing I have to correct you a little bit. Even though the area of his body might be the same area that was affected before, this is not the same injury, and he could not play last year. There was a lot of people that were saying, oh man, he did this to San Antonio. Kawhi could not play. Not only as far as his quad, he had an inner groin issue, and he had an abdominal issue. So it wasn't just one thing.
And by the way, I wasn't trying to act like he's playing through it now, wasn't playing through it last year. I just mean if you have he's dealing now with, even if it was, let's just pretend it was a shoulder injury and not a quad injury. If you have back-to-back years where you are hampered,
yes,
I do wonder if the extra security of the extra year and the extra money plays a bigger factor this offseason than it did last offseason.
Just quickly, because we haven't really talked about the Knicks as a big factor. We keep talking somewhere in LA or stay where he is. What can the Knicks offer him, and who would he potentially pair with that, say, Toronto or the Clippers can't?
The Knicks can offer him the potential to play with the greatest player in the world, and that's Kevin Durant. And if you look at the players that he would be partnered with potentially, now Kawhi's not into partnering, like I need to play with this guy to get better, but the combination of those two and the little bit of maintenance between him and Kevin Durant, that could be very, very appealing. So a New York Knicks team with Kevin Durant sitting down for a conversation with Kawhi, I'm sure Kawhi would like to be like, hey, man, I know that guy. I would much rather be on the team with them than try to defend him.
And you're the first person I've heard bring up KD and Kawhi pairing up in New York. We've heard it as a possibility with the Clippers. We haven't heard it in New York. What I will say is this: the Knicks are the only team that, without making a single financial move, a single trade, can offer both Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard their full max and not have to make any adjustment. They have the space to offer both those guys the full max without doing anything else with their team.
And just a little side note, remember in Kawhi's rehabbing, he spent a lot of time in New York City with his doctors and everything, become very, very comfortable with the city. That's why I believe New York would be a viable option, and I know the New York front office is going after Kawhi as if he is Kevin Durant. So he could be the #1 free agent in New York. I know we've been consumed with KD to New York, KD to New York, but you can believe Kawhi Leonard is at the top. They had a board. Them two names are right next to each other.
Wow. All right, good stuff. Take a break. Coming up, why is LeBron staying out of the Lakers free agent search? Next on First Things First.